friends, welcome to another Bag Gab. Today I just want to chat a little bit about deal makers and deal breakers when it comes to me purchasing items from resale sites or the pre-loved market or outlets. So I saw this video a couple of months ago, maybe a year ago, I don't know, time is nothing. A while ago, and it was made by Sam from Bargain Hunting Blonde, and I think she says she saw it made by Catherine from KW Shops. Both of them do really great fun videos on YouTube, and they're both on Instagram as well. So if you're looking for some new and interesting folks to follow, I highly recommend. So I wanted to make this video back then, but I never quite got to it. But I decided today is the day because I just wanted to share a little bit about my process and my thinking. And one of the conversations that I get into often with people on Instagram, people message me about like how I buy handbags, where I buy pre-loved, how I can feel comfortable making pre-loved purchases and things like that. So this won't cover all of that, but I did want to chat a little bit about my process and factors that lead me towards or away from buying a bag from anywhere besides a boutique. So I hope you enjoy. So the reason generally that I shop the pre-loved market or the discount market or the resale market is so I can save a little bit of money. And it's hard to say exactly how much I want to save because everything depends on so many different factors, right? So like how old the item is, if it's still being sold in store, if it's been discontinued, how damaged it is, things like that. So I don't have like a hard and fast rule that everything must be below 25% off store or I won't even consider it. That's just not something I can commit to. But there does have to be some sort of a discount, and I do have to feel like I'm doing a little bit better by purchasing it from a resale market site than I would just going into the store. So that's the first deal maker for me, is that getting a good price. So a deal breaker would be if the item was at or above retail. I'm not saying nobody should ever buy above retail. There are lots of reasons why a person might do that, especially if the item is something that you need for a specific time and you absolutely love it and there's no way that you're going to be able to get it in the store, then you just do what you got to do. But for me, there's no incentive to purchase an item at retail when I could easily go into the store and purchase it. I say that living in a city with pretty decent access to most things, and I know that's not the case for a lot of people. So again, this is not like a recommendation, or it's not a list of things that nobody should do or everybody must do. It's just what I consider. Like I could take an Uber and be inside a Louis Vuitton, several different Louis Vuittons within 10 minutes. So I'm not going to buy a Neverfull at retail on a pre-loved site. It just does not make any sense for me, but that's just me. Another deal maker for me is if the item has stains on the inside. I would not pay top dollar for a stained item, but the truth is nobody sees inside the bags, and I feel like most stains come into a bag in a pretty natural and normal way. So for example, when I used to commute to work all the time, I did used to carry my flats or sneakers in my Neverfull. I did sometimes put my coffee tumbler in my Neverfull. I also used to carry pens in there. And so, it does not imply the bag is disgusting or the person who's carrying it is like unkempt and didn't care about the item just because there are a couple of small spills and stains in there. And I think generally stains like that are going to come with bags anyway. I mean, just from me using the bag. So I don't hold it against the bag that already has some of those little blemishes on them, because I know that when I start to use it, I probably will just add more of the same to it. So that doesn't really bother me. On the flip side, a real deal breaker for me is cracked canvas. And most things on this list I'm going to say is particular to me and my preferences, but I would strongly recommend that you don't purchase cracked canvas either, because there is no good way to resolve a crack in Louis Vuitton canvas or Gucci canvas. If you don't mind having a bag that's got a patch on it that doesn't quite match the rest of the pattern, then go for it, I suppose. But Louis Vuitton or Gucci will not repair any cracks in the canvas. So when you're purchasing something with cracked canvas, you just pretty much accept that what it is what it is. It's not like the leather or the glazing or the stitching or a zipper or anything like that, where they will repair it, or you can have it taken into a cobbler who might be able to just switch out the zipper for you. Once the canvas is cracked, it's basically done. And it probably only just gets worse. So from the day that you buy it, just know that it will only expand. The crack will get only bigger, and there's really no way to reverse it. So that's the only thing on this list I would say I will not buy. Total deal breaker. And I strongly recommend that be a deal breaker for you as well. But I mean, you do you. This next one may be a little bit controversial, but again, these are things that I don't mind. You may have different reasons why it really bothers you. But for me, odor in a bag is not a real big deal. I have purchased bags that have had like that storage smell or that kind of old attic boxed up smell, or even spilled perfume. Like I purchased the bag once and I think the person spilled probably a whole bottle of a perfume I did not enjoy at all in there, and it arrived with that odor very strongly infused into the fabric of the bag. But for me, after leaving the bag out and letting it air and putting baking soda box in there, not like dumping the baking soda in the bag, but putting the box without the lid in there to just absorb some of the odor, it dissipated a lot in the first couple of days, and over time it totally went away. So odor in a bag is not really a big deal for me. I would certainly prefer to not have an odor, but if I can save a couple $100s on a bag that's a couple of thousands of dollars, I will take it and figure out a way to get rid of the odor. A deal breaker is sticky pockets or rip lining. So it seems like it wouldn't be a big deal, but the reality is the pockets are often quite useful. So even if the pocket is not where you're putting the majority of your items, it is where I tend to put my cell phone or my wallet so I can reach in and grab it in a hurry. This is especially true for like old Louis Vuitton and old Gucci. The plastic lining gets really sticky and starts to peel, and that renders the pockets useless. So if that's gone on with the bag, I'm really not aware of a way to repair that. Maybe you know, but since I don't, I just stay away from that altogether. Also, if the lining is torn, I just stay away, because anything you put in that bag then potentially has the possibility of just sliding into the torn lining and getting lost inside the bag, and it's a real hassle. And unless you know how to sew up the inside of a bag, I would say it's just not, well, for me it's just not worth it to buy a bag that's got a tear or destroyed lining. Sometimes also I think people spill stuff in the lining in the bag and they're not totally sure how to resolve it, so they just cut out the lining, which I think, why? So that's a real no-go for me. An asterisk to that is if an attached pochette is missing. So the first example that comes to my mind is the Neverfull. They all come with that little pochette, and a lot of times people sell those separately. For me, I'm using the wallets I like to use. I'm using the SLGs that I like to use in a bag. So it does not generally bother me if a bag does not come with the pochette. A deal breaker is missing straps. Partly because I feel like I don't love clutches, and if the bag is not intended to be a clutch, I don't want to carry it as a clutch. So if the bag is missing the strap, you can always buy a strap somewhere, but that is one step farther than I want to go. I am not interested in spending my time looking on the preloved market for a separate strap. And so far, just about every bag I've seen being sold without a strap, when I go to look for a strap to match, especially with the strap from the same manufacturer, the same brand, together total, it costs more to purchase them separately than it would have cost to just buy a Preloved bag for a little more money, but that already has the strap. So that's just me. If the strap is missing, I'm really just not interested in making that purchase. Deal maker: if the closures have scratches or scrapes or anything. So for all of these bags, mostly the closures and the clasps are made of like a metal or plastic. Every once in a while it's a plastic, but mostly it's a metal. And just in the normal course of use, they are going to get scratches. For my bags, when I purchase them, within like the first handful of times that I use them, the closures definitely have scratches. So I don't hold that against anybody who's selling a bag without the stickers attached. I would rather the person had already removed the stickers and that there are minimal scratches. Of course, if they're like deep grooves where the person like appears to have taken a nail and gone to town on the device or the closing mechanism, that's one thing. But just the regular scratching from looking for the clasp closure, that does not bother me at all. And if it saves me a little bit of money, I feel like, why not? Deal breaker: any kind of repair that requires being sent out. So a lot of bags can be found on all the websites for good prices if you're willing to send them to a spa or something. So they may have color transfer on the back, they may have some scratches in the front, they may need a little bit of a buffing out of lambskin or whatever. So all of that is just normal stuff that happens to bags, and those do tend to go for a little bit of a better price in the resale market. But for me personally, if I have to purchase a bag and then go through the hassle of boxing it up, sending it to a spa, having it serviced, having it returned for me, I'm just not doing it. I'm not saying nobody should. Obviously, if you know yourself and you know you will do it, do it. But for me, myself personally, no thank you. I know full and well that I will buy that bag, it will get here, and I'll just put it somewhere as a to-do item. It'll just be something that goes on the list, the list that never quite gets completed, and it would just be sitting around. So that's just a personal, individual thing. But I think if you're comfortable and you know that for certain you will get the bag, get a quote for the repairs, actually ship it out, then by all means, go for it. That's it, friends. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. Do you buy Preloved? Are you terrified of Preloved? Why or why not? And what are some of your deal breakers and deal makers? Would love to hear it.